Hey everyone, hi, welcome back to my channel. How are you all? Today I am starting a vlog. I never do reading vlogs, mostly because I don't really have a good system for it, but I thought I would try. Let me know if you like this, and also let me know what you're reading and how you're doing. I always ask at the end of the video, and I'm like, Shelly, shockingly, not everyone makes it to the end of the video. And so it's like, I want to know how y'all are doing. And I ask at the end, in which there are like 1% of people watching, you know? That is hyperbole, by the way. So, reading vlog. Okay, so there are a couple things I'm going to preface you on. I know I'm going to cover 2 books in this video. One book I'm actually kind of hoping, fingers crossed, that I will finish it over the weekend. Today is Friday, May 3rd, I think, and I'm really hoping to kind of get her done vis-a-vis the weekend. And I'll just show you right now. It's James by Percival Everett. I got this because it is the new hot book. I'm also like trying to pose for a thumbnail. How awkward. I'm gonna do that real quick. Okay, so I was like, I'm distracting myself by trying to pose for a thumbnail because, you know, this is part of the channel, at least part of my channel. I know some people just use the auto-generated thumbnails that YouTube comes up with, and that is perfectly fine. And I take some pride and joy in my thumbnails. So I was like, girl, you gotta pose for it. Okay, so I know I'm for sure gonna be reading James by Percival Everett. This will be my second Everett novel. I read The Trees, not last year, but the year before, and I loved it. I love The Trees. It was so good, partly because it is so stinking brilliant. It's both serious and funny and talks about really important issues about Black American life and asks really interesting questions, but also does it in a very entertaining way. And he doesn't, at least in The Trees, he did not miss a beat. It was so funny, so sharp, so witty, and I really appreciated Everett for that. So when James came out, it's the book after The Trees was Dr. No. It didn't get a lot of buzz. I mean, it did, but then I think it was sort of mixed. It was received with mixed reviews. And so then James came out, and it's supposed to be through Jim's perspective in Huckleberry Finn. I read Huckleberry Finn when I was like 15, y'all. It's been a very long time since I have read Huckleberry Finn. I remember the crux of the story. So it's been a long time. I understand the cultural references and some of the cultural experiences. Oh my gosh, Harry's here. Let's say hi to Harry. My dog voice, you know, because everyone's got a dog voice. Or maybe I'm just the strange one. Oh, there we go. So anyways, James is just immediately getting a ton of buzz. And it's getting really positive reviews and being super well received. And so me and my friend Fraser decided that we wanted to read it. And what do you know? We're going to read it together. It was so funny. It's like Fraser and another friend of mine told me about James on the same day. And then very shortly after, somebody else told me about James. It was like it all came flooding in about how this is the newest, hottest book by the Percival Everett, the shortlisted, I believe, the shortlisted Booker author, Pulitzer Prize winning Pulitzer Prize finalist. Shelly, get it together. I'm so excited. I guess I maybe should do more vlogs. Then you'll see different sides of my life. So this is Harry, my sweet mini schnauzer. He's just, look at that. He just snuggles. I love him. I love him. Oh, the second book. Okay, so the second book, I am a good bit of the way through, but because of timing, maybe I'll update you a little bit later. I am about like 40% through, not quite halfway, but more than a third. There you go. And it is Caste by Isabel Wilkerson. I feel like I am one of the last people on this planet to read Caste, and it was the book to read in like 2020, 2021, 2022. So here I am in 2024, finally reading it. If you don't know anything about caste, Isabel Wilkerson compares the caste system. Like, she makes an argument that there is a caste system in the United States. And in her argument, she is comparing Black American life and Black American history to that of the caste systems in other countries. It is a damning novel. I mean, not novel. It's nonfiction. It's not a novel. It's nonfiction. It is powerful. Her argument is ironclad thus far. Very, very well done. And also done in a very conversational way, which I super duper appreciate. Some of the things that she is bringing up about American history, I have never heard of. And it is gut-wrenching, difficult subject matter, but also incredibly important. And I really love the way that the narrative moves. She's talking about both her personal experiences, and then she will dive into history and make comparisons between American life and like the Nazis. You know, like, I mean, it's really, really good, and it's super fast-paced, doesn't miss a beat, and incredibly well-researched. So that is my sort of assessment thus far. And again, I'm learning so much. Every time I sort of think, oh, I know a good bit about that topic, like slavery and the slavery and how Black people have been treated in the U.S., and then I read something like Caste, and I'm like, I know nothing. I can learn a lot. And anyways, I'm reading it with an Up to No Good book club. Today is Friday. We're meeting tomorrow, and I'm kind of not in the most nonfiction-y reading mood for a lot of reasons. I'm just in the finals. I'm in the final countdown for teaching school, which has been really good, and it's been challenging, to be honest with you. And so sometimes when things are challenging in my personal life, I want escapist literature, but instead I decided to pick up like a challenging, like an emotionally and intellectually challenging book by reading Wilkerson's Caste, and I've just noticed that I just need a pause. And so instead of forcing the read so that I have it done by tomorrow, and like making sure that I get so much done per day so that I'm like finished, I am actually going to just take it at my own pace, and I'm still going to show up for the meeting, and I don't care if they spoil the book. I kind of don't really care about that anyways. If they spoil the book, that's fine, and I would rather get the most from it picking it up when I want, and I find myself that I do want to pick it up more than I even realize that I do. Like, once I start it, I'm like, oh, I get sucked in. Like, I really get sucked into the book. And so but again, I'm not going to like plot it out and be like, I need to finish this much per day so that I'm totally finished by our book club meeting. And I feel like I've gotten through enough that I can contribute to the conversation. And again, I'm not really a spoiler. I don't hold on to spoilers tightly. I just don't. So that's what I'm reading. And then today, hopefully I'll have some clips. But today I am going on a field trip with my class. I am like hosting, as you will, a field trip. I go on a lot of field trips because my own children have field trips, and then now my class has a field trip, and I'm really like excited and thrilled to have them, you know, we're going to be together and doing this field trip. We're going to a living farm, and we're going to a museum. So if I can give you some clips of that, I will definitely put them in now. But you know, or like in just a moment. And it would have been more dramatic if I said now and then it was playing. But and then I'll check in about both books when I've read a bit more. All right. Hey, so the field trip went really well. We got to see a living farm. So they're still using like a wood field stove on this living farm. They actually cook like food. They actually have like a pickles in a, you know, stored pickles and things like that. There was somebody plowing and working the field, or tilling the field, tilling the ground. there was a blacksmith and a tobacco farmer area. It was just so cool. It was such a cool experience. And then afterwards with my class, we ended up going to the museum, which I've been to several times in my area. And I don't think I took very much footage or pictures there. I've just gone quite a bit, so I think I was less bright-eyed and bushy-tailed about it. But yeah, it was really neat. It was really neat to, help facilitate this field trip. And we got to have a class with the museum. It was just awesome, like it was just really awesome to do. And I'm almost done with Caste. I'm about more like 2/3 now. I did meet with the Up to No Good book club on this, and everyone who read it loved it. We had everyone who had finished it had loved it, and then me and another member hadn't finished it yet, but we're planning on finishing it. And it was just the feedback was that it's still, even if we know about race, the history of race in America, this book still was able to contextualize it in a new way, to think about it in a new, an interesting way, that her argument was so well crafted and so well articulated, both it feeling very personal to Wilkerson, because she does talk about her own personal experiences, some of which are shocking and just jaw-dropping, that she is treated like this as an American at the time, like 2020, 2019, when she was reading this, or when she was writing this rather. And then also just some of the things in our past that I think we so want to forget. And it is so important to not forget about our history. And so she just is making a really clear argument. And again, beautifully rendered, beautifully written. I think it will be one of the most important books I read this year, if not the most important. And yeah, it does pull on the heartstrings, but I think what's most, like, what stands out the most, I think it's honestly how well crafted her argument is, that we do have a caste system in the US based on someone's color. And it's when she lays it out in front of you in the way that she does, it's very difficult to argue with. And that we are all subject. We are all living in this burden, this terribleness of a caste system, and the disadvantages of living in one. And so it's so good. So I'm like, how detailed do you want to get in something like this? But I will do have a final check-in and let you know what I think, or who I think this is for. But just know that, like, if you're one of those people who still hasn't read this book and you're not sure if you're gonna like it, just know that it's immensely readable. Even if it deals with some really difficult stuff, it's immensely readable and incredibly compelling. So good. Okay, so all right, final check-in for Caste. So what's so interesting about Isabel Wilkerson's book in general is that often we don't think about our country as a caste system, a country with a caste system in it. You would think after reading a book about caste that I could articulate this better. We don't think of ourselves as that. There are other countries that I think are more self-aware than we are. And so bringing forward this idea into the consciousness of people living in the US, or for other people living outside the US, to think of our America as a country that has a caste system. She's presenting a new idea. So as much as I am open to learning and understanding more about her argument, and here I am, like a person who's open to it, she made such a compelling argument that I think it would be hard I think some people might be put off to the book if you don't want to hear what she had to say, or if you don't agree with her politics. But politics aside, this is really a compelling argument that we do have a caste system in the US. And to be able to think about my country in a different way, to learn so much, and for it to be in a way where, again, she was just so down to earth in her writing style, and yet she brings up point after point, as historical event after historical event, and thing after thing that was so interesting and so compelling, and push her argument forward, that it was so good. It was so good. I'm so surprised it took me this long to finally read Caste, but it was phenomenal. Really, really good. So if you're one of those people who are like, I don't know, I don't know if I'll agree with her. I don't know if she'll make a good argument. I don't know if her writing style is for me. All those things, all those questions that creep up when we want to avoid a book. I'm there with you. Like, I sometimes will avoid topics that are difficult. It's hard to learn something that you have to reckon with, you know, that you have to confront. And I was exactly like that. But once I got into the book, I was like thanking myself over and over for starting the book, for getting into it, for being willing and open to, you know, see her arguments through. And it was such an incredible reading experience. Like, it was so good and so compelling. There's not a dull moment. Learning every step of the way. And I just thought it was amazing. And then to also be presented with something like a new way of seeing my country was so cool. So anyways, big success for me. So this is my first check-in for James by Percival Everett. I keep on thinking about what can I say that won't give away the book, but will also properly convey my feelings on the story. So I think that one of the most pertinent questions is, do you have to have read the source material to enjoy the book? Two of my friends now have not read Huckleberry Finn and have read James and have reported to like the book. So there's that. Having read Huckleberry Finn, but like decades ago, to be very imprecise, you know, I remember, like, it's coming back to me, some of the pivotal moments in the story, and also just some of the adventures that took place. So I do think that reading James might get you interested in the source material. And if you've already read the source material, you'll have a more enriched reading experience. And this book does stand on its own. Because, you know, again, having read the original a very long time ago, like, the hauntings, like the ghost of the plot is coming back to me through this book. And in that way, it's delightful. But I'm also just enjoying this book on its own. The second thing I kind of wanted to touch on is the title of the book, which alludes to the joke. Yeah, I guess the best way to put it is like the joke, without spoiling anything, that the slaves have on their masters. And probably more specifically in broader strokes, the black people have on the white people. And it's really fascinating, it's enjoyable, and the title alludes to it. And that's like fantastic. Like, it's right there in the title. And so in that way, it's like, even down to the one-word title, it's cleverly titled, it's cleverly done. It feels, I don't know, like, it makes you root for James more, knowing that, like, we as the audience are in on the joke as well, along with James and his compadres. The third thing I can say is that I'm not a plot girly, like, I'm not somebody who needs a lot of plot to keep her entertained. This has a ton of plot, and actually sometimes a very plotty book will overwhelm me. Like, I'm like, too much too fast, slow it down. Slow it down, sister. This is there's so much that happens, and I think it kind of has to go that way in some ways because of the source material and because Percival Everett chose to write it in a concise format. I mean, this is a mere 300 pages, so he's not dragging the story out. And so to follow the original story, it kind of has to have certain plot beats that come in at certain times. And so it has this rip-roaring pace. And that has been so great. I have many a time now had my heart in my throat rooting for the main character. I'm so invested in his struggle. I like him so much. And things happen, things go down, and I'm like, oh no, oh no. And I start to like freak out. And it makes me want to keep reading, and I've stayed up late, a little bit late, reading this, and it's just been great. Oh, I have a visitor. It is a little early to tell for a lot of reasons, but I do think this may be one of my favorite books this year. It's so enjoyably readable. It gives me that same feeling that I had with the trees. Like I'm both in awe and I'm awed by the author, I'm intrigued by the premise, and I'm surprised at some of the cleverness, the quippiness, all of that. I'm just riveted by the whole thing. So as Trees was one of my favorite books the year that I read it, I think James might be a favorite book this year. And then finally, some people are saying there was like a really good twist at the end. I don't know. I'm like, if it's I'll let you know. I'm going to be like, am I right about the thing? And I'm not going to spoil it, but I think I know what the twist is. And if it is the twist, then I feel like I saw it from a mile away. But if it's not, if I'm wrong about the twist, I'll let you know that too. So am I right about the twist? There we go. We'll leave it there. Am I right about the twist? And with that, I don't know if I'll finish today. That's kind of, for me, I'm winding down my Sunday, going back to work soon. And yeah, so I guess we'll see, we'll see. Hey guys, so you're getting me at the end of my day. I'm feeling very warm. It's so hot here. It was like 91 degrees today, or it's supposed to get up to 91 degrees. We are celebrating Teacher Appreciation Week. And so I am wearing some jewelry that my students gave me and a necklace that my school gave me. And it's just been really wonderful to be treated, just be treated so well. So I finished James by Percival Everett. I finished this and oh boy, wow. A lot to think about. A lot to talk about. Let's think. I kind of sometimes forget what I told you from one clip to the next, but I will say that about probably 2/3 of the way through, I realized that the paciness of this book made it feel almost like a thriller. I mean, so much was happening, so much to like propel the story forward. There was not a dull moment. There was not a slumpy moment. It was so quick. And in a lot of ways, it reminded me of the very few thrillers I have read. It's one thing after the other, and there's just so much to enjoy in terms of the pace. And in this case, I know I've said in the past that paciness doesn't really work for me, but it very much worked for me in this book. And with a thriller kind of book, you want to be invested in your main character, or at least I want to be invested in the main character, whether he be a hero or an anti-hero or anything like that. I want to be truly invested, and I was served such a great hero, and he was somebody that developed as the story went along, and I only became more and more invested in his mission. So that was really great. And I have like a ghost of a memory of conversations that I had in college about Mark Twain's works. And what's interesting, from what I remember, and my memory might fail me slightly, but from what I remember, like The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, in that book, Tom Sawyer is so much the hero and is sort of put in this wonderful light. And actually in that book, Huckleberry Finn is not treated as nicely as Tom Sawyer was. And then when you get to The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, the roles swap. All of a sudden, Huck's character becomes really sympathetic and really, from what I remember, like, you root for him in this way, in a strange way. And you know who falls by the wayside is Tom Sawyer. Like, you care so much less about him, even though a lot of people read the books in that order. Tom Sawyer and then Huckleberry Finn. And then in this book, it was almost like Percival Everett did the same thing that Mark Twain had done, in that he made James our hero. He made James our main person. And though Huckleberry Finn plays a role, the readers are not as, at least for me, I was not very sympathetic to Huck Finn's like plight and all of that. Like, I didn't really, not that I didn't care about Huck, but yeah, I mean, he wasn't who I was rooting for. Like, my eyes were solely on our protagonist, James, and all that he struggled through. Man, there was ups, there was downs, and I will tell you, even through to the last page, to the last sentence, I rooted so hard for James, and it was great. It was so good. So if if you are looking for a book that doesn't shy away from talking about the issues of race and just, sometimes some of the stuff is hard to read. It just is, like, humans being treated so inhumanely. So you have to be willing to read that. Even if you're curious, this was so good. So you have to be able to read that. There are some difficult moments. However, he never strays from, from his mission of making Jim this just incredible hero. Like, I could not believe how hard I was reading for him. So if you're interested in the works of Mark Twain and you're like, I want to read maybe a more modern conversation around those same books, and you're kind of looking for that, or you're really interested in race in America, or anything like that, all of that would be great. Oh, and the twist that I thought was the twist, even though I'm not sure if they were talking about different twists, I was right about the twist. Okay, I know, I remember that. So, all right, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna stop waffling on about this, and maybe. It's so hot these days. Okay, I'll see you in a bit. To wrap up this vlog, wow, I kind of can't believe that we're wrapping it up already. Two books, Caste by Isabel Wilkerson and James. Both incredible reads. Just incredible. I'm so thankful that I read them. I mean, this could easily become my favorite nonfiction of the year. My nonfiction reading has been abysmal, so just take that with a grain of salt, but it was so good. Maybe one of my favorite nonfiction books of all time. So good. So fascinating. I mean, really good writing, and everything about it was phenomenal. And then James, I could easily see this as becoming one of my favorite fiction books of the year, which is awesome. Like, amazing. What a slam dunk. Yeah, wow. I don't know. It's just so surprising. They were just both so great. Not a dull moment. Excellent writing. Really entertaining, especially, like, this is entertaining. This was far more just like as I'm getting glares everywhere. Glare everywhere. This is more of like as I previously mentioned, like, thrillery, fast-paced, has that kind of vibe going for it. This was just like it was like taking a class on the history of the U.S. and how we are, that we have a caste system in our midst and in our country. I mean, so good, so amazing. So both really, really good. And in a lot of ways, they were in conversation with one another. The caste system was present in James, and the structure that Isabel Wilkerson talks about is prevalent in James, and even the ways that we lie to ourselves and trying to convince ourselves that there's not a caste system, there's not a hierarchy. It comes out in the way people were treated in James, and because it's representing a very specific time in U.S. history. So good though. I mean, gosh, wow, what a rip-roaring ending to this vlog. It's been so good in terms of my personal life. We're ending, this whole week has been Teacher Appreciation Week, so I have been spoiled so much, and my goodness, everybody is ready. Like, I still have a couple more weeks of school, and everybody is so done mentally, physically, emotionally. Everybody is so done. And I'm okay with that. I don't know. I'm okay with that. It's fine. I think I'm so determined to end our year well. I'm like, get back on track, girl. I'm so determined to end the year well, and to make sure that I am remaining, like diligent in all things, teaching, grading, preparing, classroom management, like to remain diligent, to gain some grit in terms of like when it's getting hard, to dig deeper and to know that like I have the grit to get through it and to thrive through it. And today, like from all sides, everybody was just there was just this energy in the school. There was a lot of energy coming out of a lot of the students. And so it was challenging, I will say, to keep everybody kind of calm and not that nobody wasn't calm. There was just this excitement in the air. And so it's hard to focus when you're excited. It's hard to calm yourself. I mean, I find it hard too sometimes. And so just, I could just tell there was like a little more push and pull in terms of like getting everyone on the same page and making sure everything was going in the direction that I wanted it to go. But inevitably it all went well. And I'm just praying that tomorrow will be slightly less energetic, but it also is going to be Friday, so you never know how that's going to go. I'm going to stay open-minded, and I'm going to hold my hope close to my heart. So, but in terms of teacher appreciation, the school that I work at, they do an amazing job appreciating teachers. I have some amazing parents who show their appreciation, for what I'm doing. I'm just so grateful that I'm at the school, and I'm going to stop gushing because I could just go on and on. And, yeah. Oh, and then I do want to share. So we have, for those who maybe don't know, I teach 6th grade, and there is every week at the school, we teach, we have a student of the week, and it's presented at our school-wide chapel, which is on Thursdays. And yesterday, my sweet older son was having a difficult time. He was a little mopey. He definitely was not in a good mindset, feeling like, that, he struggles with friendships, and that he doesn't have a ton of friends. And as I was, I of course comforted him and did what I could to make him understand, or help him, not make him, help him understand that 1 or 2 amazing friends is really all you need. Like, I know from personal experience that sometimes you just need that one best friend, and that best friend will really carry you through a lot, together. The togetherness will. And so this morning during our school-wide chapel, my sweet Graham got Student of the Week. And as he was going up there, all of my 6th graders on their own started cheering, whooping, and everyone gets an applause, but there was like cheers and yells and such excitement when Graham got it. And I was just floored. I was floored because here I was comforting the same kid about, his self-doubt, essentially, and trying to comfort him through that. And here my students are cheering on a 2nd grader, my kid, for making it Student of the Week, and they totally didn't have to do that. And it just really touched me, and I didn't want to forget it. So that's why I'm telling you all just how precious that was. So, you know, even if the days are challenging, I remember these moments, and they just provide just so much. Like, words cannot express just how grateful I am for moments like that, and that I could be present for it, and just watching my kid get Student of the Week, and watching my students cheer for him. I just, like, that's amazing. It's amazing, you know, like, that's amazing. So I just wanted to share. So thank you all for being here. I hope this isn't too long. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye.